In this video, I'm gonna be showing you a full day of eating for someone who's looking to build muscle and on more of a busy schedule. So let's get into the video. All right, you guys just saw the breakfast. We've got 3 slices of our 45 calorie bread. So toast with some jam on each of them. So I estimate it to be about like 6 tablespoons, 2 tablespoons each of some, I got cherry jam and then I've got blackberry. So I wanted to switch it up. So those are my 2 there. And then we've got a quarter of that container of egg whites. If you guys don't know what I'm referencing, the last video we did a grocery haul with all the food that I'm gonna be eating for this week. And so I'm making the meals based on exactly what the grocery haul was. So it's the next day after. But it's about like a cup of egg whites. So like a quarter of that container with 2 whole eggs and a glass of fat-free Fairlife milk. So came out to 675 calories, which is energy. So all this energy gave me 675 calories as energy, broken down into 63 grams of protein, 64 grams of carbs, and 12 grams of fat. And so that is what this meal is made up of, energy-wise, nutrient, at least for the macronutrient-wise, things like that. So we'll get into more like why micronutrient-specific things later and some other meals that I have today, but I'll keep this one kind of short. I'll start right with so we got the what it is, why I'm eating this. So I'm eating this because I'm gonna be going to the gym in about 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours actually, and I can afford that big meal before. And so I'm a person that I don't like to feel bloated going to the gym at all. And if I have a meal before, like even an hour or maybe even pushing 2 hours before, depending, no matter the meal size, it sits in my stomach and I just feel bloated and I have really bad workouts. So if I can afford it, I like to eat like 2 or 3 hours before that workout. And if I can't, then I just won't eat. I'll just train fasted. So early in the morning, if I have like a really busy day and I need a lot of focused work, I'll just wake up, go to the gym in the morning, knock it out. Is there anything special about training fasted? Not really. Is there anything special about training fed? Not really. I just fit into my schedule based off of preference because I don't like to feel bloated while I'm lifting. So we've got the what it is, what's made up of, and then why are we eating that right now? Also, another part of that is the fact that it's higher in carbs, higher in protein, lower in fat. Pre-workout, you want a meal that's higher in carbs because carbs is what's going to give you that energy for lifting specific type purposes. If you're going to be going into like a longer run, you can probably have some more fats and things like that. But carbs, quickly digestible, at least as quickly as my body can handle it, but quickly digestible. So that's why it's one of my higher carb meals of the day, always my pre-workout meal. So that's 64 grams of carbs. And then protein's still quite high. If it was closer to the workout window, so let's say like 2 hours, I'd probably lower the protein a little bit just so there's less calories, less stuff to like break down, and I could just like, empty it out before I go to the gym. But I still have a while, so like 3 hours. So I've got higher protein, and then the fats are low because there's still 12 grams, so it's not that bad. But fats kind of stay in my stomach a while as well. It holds a lot of calories, 9 calories per gram, as opposed to carbs and protein, 4 calories per gram. So fats are gonna take a while to digest. They're gonna sit in my stomach longer. I'm gonna feel a little bit more like lethargic going into it too. It's more for like, fats are like low, slow, long, sustained energy. Carbs are like quick energy. So once those carbs are digested, which for me, I know for my body takes about 2 to 3 hours, I'll have a bunch of energy going into that workout and I can push hard and do well. If I'm doing a longer run, maybe I'll shift over to more fats, but that's why I included these ingredients in the meal. That's this meal. I'm not gonna probably eat again for another 6 hours, which like isn't super ideal, but like whatever. That's why this meal is bigger. So first meal of the day, bigger meal, 675 calories, and then I'll get in the rest of my meals later in the day. All right, just got back from the gym. It's about 2:10 right now. And so I have my 2 calls, 10 and 11. So that took me to 12. And then I headed over to the gym. And now it's about 2. So with that whole process, it's been about 4 hours since I've last eaten. I actually hit a PR today on shoulder press, hit 80s for 7. So that was fun. Just goes to show the more carbs you have in you, and of course, good night's sleep and hydration, all that stuff. It really does help. So I've definitely noticed a performance boost whenever I have that meal before I go into the gym, at least one meal, as opposed to training fasted. But of course, has to fit into your schedule. So if you have to get it done fasted and a little bit of dip performance, not a huge deal. The main thing that matters is that you just try hard in the gym and you'll see results. You don't have to be PRing to see results. So different ways to progressive overload, that's a whole nother video, but long way of saying that I'm back and I need to eat. It's post-workout, so very similar to the pre-workout meal, gonna be higher in carbs and higher in protein, less so in fats. The reason for this is because I'm gonna be talking to you about the reasons as I make that meal. All right, so one of my easy go-to meals that I decided to go with is simply a bunch of carbs from fruits right here. So I got 3 clementines. Each one of these is roughly gonna be about like 10 to 15 carbs. So we're looking at like 45-ish carbs there. We're gonna go with our protein yogurt that we got from the last video from our grocery haul. And so if you don't remember the macros here, fantastic option. And it was on sale too, which is really cool. But 100 calories, 19 grams of protein, 7 carbs, 0 fat, protein Greek yogurt. So we're gonna go in with a serving of that and then mix it with some protein powder for a little extra flavor. I'm using this peppermint bark flavor from Axe and Sledge. Y'all can use code RIDZIG10 for 10% off your purchase if you want to save yourself some money. And this is one of my favorite protein flavors of all time. I especially like it with yogurt because it makes it like a bark type flavor. Obviously peppermint bark, but it's like a candy cane in like ice cream form. Really, really cool. Try it out. But yeah, so we're gonna go in with that. And that's our quick meal just to get in some carbs and protein to recover from the workout. I'll explain a little bit more about why protein carbs in a second as I'm building it. So we already kind of know that protein post-workout is probably the best option. Protein is what I like to call our recovery macronutrient. And so protein is necessary to build muscle. And so obviously if we're breaking down the muscle, providing that stimulus for our workout, we want to recover with that protein. You don't need to fit in like protein with an anabolic window. It's not like if I don't have this meal, I'm going to lose all my muscle mass or the workout's going to be wasted. But it goes to say that the longer you go without protein after the workout, the more at risk you are for not recovering as well. And so it doesn't mean you're gonna wasted your workout or anything like that. I could totally skip this meal and just kind of move on to the next one. It just might be like 90% recovery, not 100% recovery. Especially if you have a meal before you work out and you have that protein in you, it's still kind of digesting, it's still floating around the bloodstream, getting pushed around to different tissues. So you're really not at risk for losing any muscle mass if you don't have that anabolic window. It's not really true. But protein, really good option for post-workout recovery. So got our protein, but why carbs especially? So the reason why I have carbs post-workout is because carbohydrates spike insulin. And so let's break this down to make it as easy as possible to understand. So carbohydrates are basically another way of saying sugars or glucose or polysaccharides or saccharides, whatever the case might be. They're all kind of the same thing. So you eat carbohydrates. The food you eat, the food you eat comes in the form of carbohydrates. That gets broken down into simple sugars called glucose. And then when your glucose gets digested, goes all in your GI system, it gets absorbed from the small intestines, goes into your bloodstream. Once those glucose molecules enter your bloodstream, insulin is spiked. So insulin is a hormone that is released to take out blood sugar and put it into other tissues, whether that be fat tissue, muscle tissue, whatever the case might be. But insulin is a hormone that is released to regulate blood sugar. And so we don't want too much blood sugar, we don't want too little. So insulin is released when there's too much blood sugar, AKA when you eat a lot of carbohydrates. And of course, the quicker the carbohydrates, so simple sugars, very fast acting carbs, things that would be higher in the glycemic index, which we'll get into in kind of maybe another video. But basically, the quicker that the carbs digest, the higher that spike in insulin is, because the quicker it gets into the bloodstream, aka the more insulin that needs to be released in that fast manner to get it out and into other tissues. So you eat carbs, they get digested into glucose molecules, that gets absorbed into the bloodstream from your digestive tract, and insulin is released to take that out of the blood and put it into tissues. Post-workout, it's mainly used to be put into muscle tissue, and the reason is it's all about energy. And so obviously food is energy. It's calories, carbohydrates, the type of calorie, and calorie is just another word for energy. It's a unit of energy. So if before, when we worked out, we use a lot of energy and that energy needs to be replenished specifically at the muscle, the body's gonna use that energy to repair the muscle. It doesn't need to put on fat right now. Its main use is like, hey, we just strained ourselves in the gym. Obviously it's not thinking this, but it's like, hey, our muscles are broken down a little bit, they're a little bit fatigued, we need to replenish the glycogen in there, which glycogen is stored carbohydrates inside muscle tissue. So specifically, I know it's kind of long, but stick with me. So specifically, post-workout, you get insulin spiked. That has insulin receptors on the muscle tissue, and the muscle tissues are kind of like screaming. They're like, give us some energy, give us some insulin. So insulin binds to those receptors on muscle tissue specifically because that's when it's like most needed for that energy. Opens up channels for glucose to enter and as well as protein to enter. So there's some protein channels that require, or amino acid channels, I guess, things like that require insulin, so they're insulin dependent. And so that's why the combination of carbohydrates and protein post-workout is most maximal for recovery. Fats don't really spike insulin. Fats are needed for testosterone boosting and things like that, but we can have that before bed and outside the workout window. So general rule of thumb, if you're like, wow, that was a lot of information, I can't remember any of that. Basically, it goes to say that around your workout window, before workout, after workout, try to get in some carbohydrates and some protein. Fats are not absolutely necessary. Reason for that is to supply energy for your workout and then help your body recover post-workout. So that's carbs and protein. All right, so it's my last Clementine. That's the yogurt, eating that up. Basically, macros on the screen, but it's really simple to remember. This was 40 grams of protein, 40 grams of carbs, 0 fat. Nice and easy, help us recover from our workout. Really quick meal, so they're gonna take me 5 minutes to finish. Then I'm gonna start prepping for the rest of the week, and I'll probably just choose 2 of those meals for the rest of the night. So I just wrapped up a full other video about a meal prep. Basically how to make 20 meals in 90 minutes with variety too. So we got 3 different options here. We've got a ground turkey chipotle bowl. We've got salmon, potatoes, and string beans. And then we've got a chicken chipotle bowl, which all of those are in our cookbook, which you can find for free on our website, which I'll link down below. You guys can just go download it. It's awesome. I don't know which one I want. I think I'm gonna go with the ground turkey. That one's been kind of eyeing me up. So basically, long way of saying that that's my next meal. That's how I'm eating. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So chipotle bowl going down. Last meal of the day going down right now. We ended up choosing the salmon, string bean, and potato meal that we prepped before. The reason why I'm choosing this meal now, especially this late at night before bed, is because if salmon is a little bit higher in fats, and so if protein's the same and fats are a little bit higher and my meals calorically wise are pretty evenly spaced out, that means carbs have to go down. And so I like having fats at the end of the night as opposed to carbs, because carbs, again, they spike insulin, blood sugar, it gives you that quick burst of energy. I don't want energy going to sleep. I just want kind of like low, slow, sustained energy so I can just like fall asleep well. It's not because if I eat carbs, I'm gonna get fat like at night or whatever. It's just because I want to sleep. So that helps me sleep, fats at night. But that's gonna wrap up that video here. I'm gonna eat this and call it a night. If you guys like this video, comment below what you like, what you don't like, what you want to see. And yeah, maybe we'll do another one of these next time. So